And there was a rather peculiar limerick being delivered by someone in the shuttlecraft bay. I am not sure I understand it. There was a young lady from Venus whose body was shaped like a...
Welcome to episode 2 of our still unnamed podcast. You listening will know, but we do not know, so enjoy the power that you hold for the moment.
Untitled, The Next Generation.
So now we're going to get into episode 2 of season 1 of Star Trek The Next Generation, which is called The Naked Now. And we'll start, as always, with Dory giving us a recap.
Okay, so they found this ship named after a Russian guy. Yeah, I Googled it. They are like, okay, let's go check it out. So the gang goes in and they find a bunch of frozen dead people. They're like, ooh, not a good look. Geordi goes to, I thought it was a closet, but then like later find out it was a shower, whatever. And a lady falls on him frozen and he's like, uh-oh. And then later he starts sweating. And that is suspicious, which in my experience, sweating is not suspicious.
Temperature-controlled ship, though.
Oh, that's true. So he's sweating. He starts to... you know what, honestly, I didn't think he acted that weird.
Yeah, he was very unbothered.
Yeah. Then we learned, like people are getting intoxicated. It's like if they were drunk. If anything, I kind of felt sad for Geordi because, like, he goes to the window and he's, like, at the observation deck and he's like, I want to see. And Yar's like, you have better sight than any of us. And he's like, yeah, but, like, I want your substandard eyesight. And I was like, oh, my God, Geordi's a sad drunk. That breaks my heart a little bit.
Well, I mean, he wasn't a very funny drunk if we can go by his quote-unquote joke in sickbay. Maybe she threw her voice. Oh, shut up.
Geordi's not having a great time. So he's infected, which is apparently only like spread by touch, but he touches Yar and man, she gets hot right away. I
mean, she is hot. It's Denise Crosby.
Yeah. She's just like, excuse me, I'm going to go. I wrote down, where was it? She basically like breaks and enters into Troy's cabin and tries on her scarves. So not even clothes, but just she tries on her scarves. And she's like...
I love the way that she introduces herself when she goes in there, because she's like, Troy, I need your advice. That's why I broke and entered into your quarters.
So she busts in, tries on some scarves. Troy is like, no, scarves aren't your look. Maybe now's not the place. Then Yar's like, I'm going to go to the store, to the shops or something. And I was like, hold the phone. There's a mall in this freaking spaceship. There are stores. There are shops. That's amazing. I hope there's like... Oh,
I think by ship stores, she actually means like...
The storage.
Oh, that's disappointing. I really loved the idea of like, I don't know, a Walmart or something. Troy then is contaminated, but also she just is like, I wrote down, Troy is getting secondhand hot because she's feeling everybody's like emotions. So of course she goes to Riker and she's like, what's up? Let's party. He's like, oh no, I need to get you to sickbay.
She's also a sad drunk.
Sad, horny drunk.
Yeah. So he takes her to sickbay, in which he touches her, then touches the doctor, and somehow this sickness skips Riker and goes right to the doctor. And the doctor, this woman, she's honestly an icon. I'll get into her bit later with the captain, but so she goes to the captain. She's like, what's up? He's like, also, what's up? But her shitty son, actually, you know what? I take that back. Wesley is kind of, he's an evil, he does a bad thing, but it's also like, it's kind of a baller move.
Yeah.
I was ready to be like, I wrote initially, I was like, oh, look at this kid. I thought he was gonna, when he was telling Geordi about the like voice thing, I was like, oh, that's gonna somehow bite him in the ass. It didn't. He just used it for evil. And honestly, what a move. I kind of loved it. And I was ready to be like, ugh, youth. But I enjoyed that. He was, because the thing is, I do like that he like mutinied sort of, but he was like, but sir, tell me what to do and I'll do it. And he's like, give me power back. He's like, no.
Okay, but on the topic of youth, did it strike you that maybe the person who wrote this has never actually spoken to a child before because of that moment where it's like, and as my first action as
my
captain,
God, desserts?
I will be including
Honestly?
dessert with every meal.
Honestly, though, I'm here for that. I support Wesley for dictator in this particular situation. I support breakfast dessert. Breakfast is already the best. I love breakfast food. I don't actually eat breakfast, like morning food, but I love breakfast at any other time of the day. So breakfast dessert, what is this? Like a waffle with beautiful stuff on it? I'm here for it.
But that's like a move an 8-year-old does, not like a 15-year-old.
Hey, I'm still.
I don't want to eat my vegetables.
No, honestly, I'm older, and like I haven't been 15 in a very long time, but I still back that decree. I'm here for it. Oh yeah, it turns out this has happened before. The Dr. Crusher, the badass she is, well, she's under the influence, still like makes a freaking antidote in which she like saves everybody, and Geordi like sits up and he's like, I'm already feeling better. Yeah, everybody just goes around like basically giving them like an EpiPen situation, and everybody being, oh, I'm fine now. They just fly into space for their next shenanigans.
The end.
The end.
I actually really liked this episode.
Yeah, I know. Me too, actually.
Oh, okay.
I was saying a little bit before we started recording that I was surprised how much I enjoyed this episode. Because
it was
again,
fun.
Yeah, it's stupid
yeah,
as fuck.
again, this is one of those ones where when I think about rewatching it, I'm like, do I have to? But it was actually fun. I think I'm just in a really good mood today.
That's fair.
But this episode was really fun.
Did anyone else notice that the Tsiolkovsky's name behind Riker when they beam aboard the ship is actually in Cyrillic?
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah, like they've got this big dedication plaque there, and apparently, no, we're gonna acknowledge that other languages exist, and I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool.
Actually, I seem to remember somewhere that it's misspelt.
Oh my god.
Yes, actually, it is. Well, the other issue is that on the in the behind the scenes stuff, the actual dedication plaque says that the ship was commissioned in the USSR.
Oh yeah,
which,
that's right.
That didn't age well.
Yeah, I wrote down that we get a Russian ship name immediately to show that now the Russians are our friends.
Yeah.
That everything's chill with Russia. Oh, again, something we forgot to do in the first episode and this episode is say the original air date.
Oh, yes. So this actually aired on October 5th, I believe, 1987.
Well, according to IMDb, October 3rd.
That sounds more correct, actually, thinking about if the first one was a week earlier. Yeah, this would have been like, not height of the Cold War, but we're talking like, Chernobyl is still like fresh in everyone's minds. Doesn't look like Russia's about to fall, but the Cold War is still going on. Even though they're starting to have problems, communication is beginning to open up with them, and they were just like, no, you know what? Straight up, we're cool with them now. Russia's part of the rest of us.
Like in 1987, like that would have been a very deliberate choice to be like, this ship is Russian and it was commissioned in the USSR and everything is all chill.
That's cool.
Yeah, space, man.
Are there no locks on the quarters?
No.
People can just bust in whenever they want?
Oh, unless the script calls for it.
Yeah, unless the script calls for it, there's no locks.
Because, like, even Data is just like, oh, so he goes here, and he just is like, hello?
Yeah.
Honestly, though, okay, Data had a good episode.
Yeah.
First, I don't know what snootful means either, so when he was like, snootful, and Picard is like, forget it, and I was like, but I want, what?
But I want to know, too, because I also don't know.
I love Yar's outfit when Data comes in and she's in this like sexy Princess Jasmine situation with like a Superman curl.
Yeah.
And then she's like something on the lines of like, aren't you fully
Functional.
like, capable functional? And she's like, how fully? I love that. I thought it was so funny. And then afterwards, when Data comes back to the bridge, he does that like lean with like the arms crossed in the background. I was dying. It was so funny. And then his conversation with the captain, and then he also goes, fully, captain. I can't. And he goes, and then he goes, if you prick me, do I not leak?
Yeah, they try to explain why Data gets infected, but it still makes no goddamn sense.
It's weak, but I'm here for it. It still was funny.
Fair.
I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Also, I will say the opening line, basically, like the lady's voiceover thing, I love that. I was laughing so hard while she was saying it, because also, like, at one point they cut to Riker, and he does kind of like a non-reaction, but I found that very funny too, because it was like when she says pretty boys.
They actually cut to Picard, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
I think they go back and they go to Riker at one point, and I just found that whole segment so funny.
I love Data, but sometimes I just forget how much I love Data. Like, I love this episode so much.
I think Brent Spiner had a fucking blast filming this.
Oh, of course.
For sure. And then at the end, Yar and Data are so awkward, and she's like, it never happened. And he's like, okay.
Yeah.
I love it. My God, that was
That's
awkward.
the fully functional scene is the best scene in Star Trek.
It is so...
I don't give a shit.
It is so good. The whole thing is so freaking weird.
Sorry. An important thing I want to note about that scene, Data agrees to go to Bone Town before he's infected.
That's true. That is a good point.
Because, you know, they have that little sound effect, like when people get the infection.
Yes, it's a sound transferring disease.
Yeah. And, like, that doesn't happen till they're in the bedroom about to go down.
I honestly, the funny thing is, like, this, watching an episode about, like, an invisible disease is kind of, like, a little too real right now.
Yeah.
I was like, cool.
Also, I have to say, sickbay security is fucking terrible.
Yes, and that's something that remains throughout the rest of the series.
Yeah, so, like, Geordi comes back to the ship and they notice there's a problem, and then Dr. Crusher's like, hey, I'm confining Geordi because it looks like something's wrong with him. And then he just fully walks out of sickbay with, like, not even, like, the door just opens for him. Like, he doesn't even have to, like...
And it's like, yeah, whatever.
He doesn't even have to push a button.
Yeah, Geordi is a 15-year-old loose cannon. He does whatever he wants to do. I will say, I love when he's on with Picard, and Picard is like, I need the control back, and he's like, you don't do anything, you just tell other people to do things. And I was like,
that was Wesley.
Yeah. Wesley said that to Picard. Yeah. Oh, I loved that.
Because Geordi passes the disease on to Wesley, and he was really creepy about it.
Yeah, I was worried, like, initially at the beginning, I thought, like, this disease was going to be something evil.
He was close talking a lot in that scene. Like, they were, like, fully, like, maybe 15 centimeters tops away from each other. He's like, wow, Wes, that's great. And he's got this, like, weird smile on his face.
Yeah, I was worried this was going to be, like, bad. But no, it was just horny.
Yeah.
I loved the amount of frustration that Picard had while Wesley was in charge.
Yeah.
And he just is like, Wesley!
They directed that really well. There's so many moments throughout like the second half of the episode where Picard is just getting, like, blindsided from every end about, like, okay, you don't have control of this. Now you don't have control of this. Now you don't have control of this. And he's just like, could somebody, like, sit down, shut the fuck up, and let me figure out what's going on, please? Because he just seems consistently confused. It's great.
I love it.
And then when he becomes, like, senile old man drunk, you were talking in the last episode, Dory, about how you really wanted to see Picard, like, loosen up and
if
be
he was
drunk. And you notice what a boring drunk he is?
No, I don't think he's a boring drunk, because he's still... Okay, the best part of the entire episode was him and Dr. Crusher.
Oh, I know what's coming.
Yeah.
She comes up in the elevator. She takes her hair out of the clip, which she was not wearing prior to this scene. So they were like, let's give her something to take her hair out. She needs to, like, take it out, be like, I'll be in your... She's like, it's urgent, it's important, let's go. And he walks in, she's on the desk. She's ready to clown. And he walks in And it is my favorite. It's okay. We're almost at my favorite moment. There's actually 3 moments in this thing. That's all Picard. He's standing there.
I know what you're going to say.
Hand on her hips. She's going so close to him, talking so close. And she's like, she's not saying explicitly she wants to fuck, but she's like implying and being like, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. I'm a lady who hasn't had the touch of my husband or a man. And then I guess that's when it clicks in, because he does that thing where like he puts his hand basically behind her head at the wall and leans over. And I was like, if Picard did that to me, oh my God.
You'd come.
Sploosh, as they say on Archer. Sploosh. Shit.
So I wrote down Crusher gets horny on Picard, and honestly, same.
I loved him in this episode. He was so much more fun, felt more personable. And then, so like kind of horny. Picard was great. My second.
But Beverly.
Yes, I wrote down the clearing the throat thing. That was so weird. I love that so much. But his wave, that weird. She's going down the elevator, and he does that weird wave.
Yeah, the like really awkward like
side wave from his middle of his body, and I was like, this is I love it. It's beautiful. It's perfect. It's so awkward. And his face is also equally weird. But the best moment in which I rewinded and went back and forth and watched this a bunch of times, so I could also, in case anybody wants to look it up, on Netflix, it's at 38:43.
Very specific, thank you.
Picard's going into the sick bay, and he does the tiniest jump.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And I just kept rewinding it because I thought I was seeing it wrong at first, and I was like, no, he didn't. And then, yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. So the tiny little things he did in this episode, the like arm behind the head, the wave, and that jump, like, Jesus Christ.
From that, I'd actually like to segue to a related little bit of backstory on that. So this one was also written by DC Fontana, and it was written not long after they had finished the script for Encounter at Farpoint. And so she wrote the episode, and it's actually a very, very direct throwback to another episode of the original series, which they mentioned several times in the episode. Yeah, it's essentially a sequel episode.
Yeah.
So the original one is also, I believe that one's also in the first season, and it's considered like a landmark of the series. It's extremely well known. It was extremely popular because it was a lot of fun. It really got you into these like interesting moments with all of the characters, and they wanted to kind of do that again. And so it was Gene's idea, but he got DC Fontana to write it. So this episode is incredibly horny. The original episode was not as horny, but it definitely was kind of horny, but, you know, about as horny as you could be for the 60s.
Yeah.
The issue came in that after DC Fontana had written it, this was pretty standard on the first season. It would go to Gene Roddenberry, and he would essentially do either a credited rewrite, which would be a big one, or an uncredited rewrite, which would be a smaller one. Well, he gave this one a credited rewrite, so much so that DC Fontana no longer wanted to be associated with the episode and had her name pulled off of it.
Oh, wow.
And the reason for it, and she wrote a big memo to the Guild about this because she was pretty pissed off, he added a bunch of really explicit sexual scenes to it that made her feel very uncomfortable, and she felt that he removed the agency of women through his writing in the episode.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
You'll notice a theme throughout Star Trek is that they don't handle women very well.
No, and Gene, especially for somebody who touted himself as this very forward-thinking, progressive mind, he wasn't good at it either. He was a pervert.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Although we do get one little bit of progress, I wrote down, is that something I failed to mention in the first episode is that we get the new gender-neutral opening. So in the original series, in the beginning, Captain Kirk says, like our mission is to go where no man has gone before. And now they say, where no one has gone before. So, baby step, I guess. We did it, guys.
We solved it. Congratulations. We toppled the patriarchy.
There's one criticism I have about this episode.
Only
one? Yeah. I mean, like, besides, like, the cheesiness and all that stuff, that's a given. But the one, like, criticism I have is that this is the second episode of the series. We don't know these characters at all yet. And immediately we get an episode about them acting out of character. So we don't, like, to us, to me, it's not very impactful to see everyone drunk and acting crazy when you don't know what they act like regularly.
There's actually a line that Riker has where he's like, Geordi, what's going on with you? This isn't like you. And I'm like, what's he like normally? We haven't seen him yet. Like, we've had a total of, like, 10 lines from him so far.
Also, super quick, Geordi LaForge. That's an incredible name.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
I love that name.
So, Maggie, on that note, Gene actually intended for this to be an episode for people to get to know the characters more, because what he noticed after the first one was that everyone was very stiff. And he wanted to loosen them up on purpose so that people could be more comfortable with them. And while this is a plot-driven episode, it's definitely an episode full of character moments. Like Yar very casually and sexily mentioning how she had to avoid the rape gangs when she was younger.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Because that came out of nowhere.
Yeah, she's abandoned at age 5, and then she joined I almost said the Enterprise. What is it called? Space Force? No.
Starfleet
at like 15, I guess. It's like this.
It was pretty young, yeah.
Poor woman. Jesus, what a heartbreaking life. But like, yeah, she's telling Data this while she's like, let's fuck. But let me tell you about this first.
Who brings that up casually while hitting on someone?
It was heartbreaking. It's like, Jesus. Yeah, I actually thought about that a bit too, that we went from just meeting these people and then into a really horny episode. It would have been nice to, like, I grew up watching a lot of, like, those teen dramas, and normally if you want an episode like that, you want to be able to, like, ship people first and have, like, scenes so when, like, stuff like this happens, you can be like, get it. I mean right in the first episode we talked about this, that, like, that Crusher and Picard were gonna fuck.
Yeah.
So them having their moments of this was very funny and warmed my cold dead heart. But it would have been nice to have, like, more scenes with them first. And yeah, same with, like, Troy and Riker. Like, she was very thirsty and he was like, I need to get you over here. And then we didn't even really get to see him. I almost said Hulk out. That's not the right way.
No, he just got sweaty and was like, oh, fuck, I can't deal with this.
Yeah, I noticed that. Riker is apparently a heavyweight. Like, he holds his booze well.
See, like, okay, let's ask this question. To you guys, if this was you, what would you be doing? What kind of, like, intoxicated behavior would you be having?
It depends on the level for me, because I go through, like, I definitely have levels of drunkenness where there's kind of happy Maggie, where I say I love you and you're the greatest and all that, which transitions into horny Maggie. And then if I get any further past that, it turns into a therapy session Maggie. So it depends how much it affects me, but I think horny or sad or probably some combo of both would be me.
So what you're saying is you start off at Yar and go to Troy.
Yeah.
What was with that line she had when he's carrying her away and she's like, Will, don't you want me in your mind? And I'm like, Jesus Christ, woman. That's insane. I mean, basically just say, I want you inside me. Make me a baby. That's essentially what she just said.
Oh my God. Sorry, but can you imagine if any children came from that? Like, how awkward that'd be. Like, oh yeah, sorry, your parents made you because
A drunk
plot.
disease got them.
Yeah.
Because a disease got them drunk.
That would be terrible. Like, that's... Oh, I will say one quick thing. So in the last episode, in my predictions of this episode, I was like, there better be naked people. There was frozen dead naked people.
Well, actually, the frozen person that falls out of the shower isn't naked.
No,
and I
they're
was just
fully
like,
clothed.
huh.
But the people like sitting on the floor when Geordie goes into the room. Also, Geordie's reaction to the cold was magical.
Yeah.
He just did this like shiver thing and walks in a room full of dead, frozen naked people, and I was like, there we go, some naked people.
He was more bothered by the cold than seeing... Yeah, than by the corpses. He's very unbothered when that body falls on him.
Yeah, I would be screaming.
No, his, because the person having all their clothes on in the shower is what leads Riker to kind of remember the thing that happened on the original Enterprise. And I just wanted to mention that when he approaches Data about, like, trying to look that up, he just plonks his ass right down on the control panel.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's be perfectly fair. If the future can't recognize the difference between, like, a finger and an ass when it comes to touchpads, then I don't want to live in that future.
Yeah.
I also love that, like, Worf was, like, over all of this. He was, like, basically, everybody's just being stupid. He was kind of done with it.
I don't understand their humor either.
He just was like, these idiots.
Can I mention, though, that despite the not having any reaction to corpses at all, LeVar Burton's physical acting is actually really on point in this episode. Like, there's the moment in the observation lounge when he's, like, reaching forward towards Tasha Yar, and, like, I noticed this having watched the series, like, a billion fucking times, but actually paying attention to it now, yeah, he's a blind man there. That's what you do when you can't see, and he's pulling it off with, like, the weird kind of shaking, like, I'm just kind of trying to touch this a tiny bit so I know I'm not pressing it too hard, sort of thing. It's really believable.
Yeah, I thought everyone's acting was pretty good in this episode.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
I actually had no idea that was LeVar Burton when we were watching the first episode. I Googled it.
Oh.
I went on IMDb to, like, write down the name of the episode and stuff for my notes. And he was so young. I did not recognize him, which is funny. Is like, I loved reading Rainbow when I was a kid. I was obsessed with the theme song. And then I think I'm just used to him as like an adult because I think the thing I most recently know him from is when he did he was guest starred on Community.
Oh yeah.
In which was like my favorite thing in the world because
his hair is very different now.
Oh yeah.
Because he keeps it very short.
Yeah,
Oh,
Donald
God.
Glover's reaction to seeing LeVar Burton was the best.
we have to show Dory the original costume test for Geordie LaForge. It's so bad.
Oh, God, yes. Yes, we
Oh,
will.
actually, very
We
quick
will.
side note of Troy got like a cool new outfit.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to change outfits on her every now and then, and they never really explain why she's the only one who
Oh.
doesn't have to wear the uniform that everyone else
Oh,
does.
it truly doesn't bother me. I thought it was a great outfit. Her hair looked cool. She had that fun like headpiece thing in
Yeah.
with like the gems. Oh, she looked amazing.
And her makeup was like way better.
Yeah, they were
mean-
definitely banking on Marina Sirtis being like a sex symbol, which is... It's weird that they banked on her being a sex symbol, considering that at the time, Denise Crosby was the one casted who actually was a sex symbol.
What is she from? I don't think I've ever seen her in anything.
She hasn't been in very much, to be honest. Her career's been like mostly small TV roles for a very long time. But before this, she was a cover girl in something. I don't recall what, but it stood out. And they actually, when they casted her, felt a little uncomfortable about that fact. And they were like, oh, is this gonna like give people the wrong idea about what Star Trek is, you know? But
And then they made the horniest episode ever.
yeah, absolutely. and literally pick her to dress like as sexy as possible. Like, here you go, have some underboob, everybody.
I mean, she was gorgeous. She looked incredible in the
Listen,
outfit.
I'm here for it. I'm here for the underboob. So the whole Wesley thing, first of all, I wrote drunk child alert. So when Wesley takes over engineering, the fucking assistant chief engineer is a straight up dumbass.
Yes.
He leaves Wesley in charge before he gets infected. Like you hear the little sound effect like beforehand, but like it's kind of established that it takes a little time to kick in fully. I guess you could make the argument that like maybe he just got infected faster and that's what impaired his judgment, but like I don't think it was quick enough.
No, it was near instant.
For that to explain why this adult was like, yeah, sure, I'll leave this child in charge of engineering on the flagship of the Federation.
Clearly not a very well-disciplined crew.
No.
So this is our introduction to Chief Engineer McDougal.
I liked her.
Yeah? Okay. I find it weird that they didn't introduce her in episode 1. They were just like, Chief Engineer, whatever, we'll leave that till the next episode, considering that the Chief Engineer was a very important character in the original series. So... yeah, okay, whatever. They focused on the bridge crew this time around.
I didn't find Wesley as annoying in this episode.
No. It is kind of irritating that he's the one who saves the ship, because you and I know that they kind of do that a bunch.
That's why I wrote down boy genius alert.
Yeah. But that was also kind of a thing going on at the time.
He was definitely there to be the teen heartthrob.
Yes.
He's very, like, if I was 14 or whatever, I would definitely be, like, crushing on Will Wheaton.
You'd definitely be crushing on Crusher.
Yes.
I don't know. I think he's, like, you know what? I'm not going to say.
Yeah. It's it's complicated with his character. I mean, it's not that complicated. He is really annoying.
You'll get to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, I really like Will Wheaton
yes.
now, like, and I feel so bad for him because he got a lot of shit, like, because people didn't like his character, so they took it out on like, the actual person.
Even after the show was over.
That's so unfair. I hate when people do that.
Yeah.
He doesn't have control over whatever, and it's not him. It's a fucking character. My God, people just fans take so much ownership of content sometimes that it's so frustrating. This is people's lives. This is somebody's job. You can be upset when things don't go the way they are, but you have no right to attack the people who are just acting in it. You have no right to attack anybody to do with anything. It's not your decision. It's you watch and consume. You consume the content, and that's it.
Especially on a kid.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like Wesley, but I never, ever... I mean, he was fun in this episode, but I never, ever, ever would, like, been on Twitter being like, hey, Will Wheaton, Wesley's stupid. I get a real Draco Malfoy feel from him. Minus the dad part, obviously. Because, like, I actually wrote, Wesley has my father will hear about this vibe.
My dead father will hear about this.
Do you know who my daddy is?
But then I also wrote, like, or frat boys in boating shoes.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't like him, but nobody deserves to be, like... It's a fucking TV show. Nobody deserves to be, like, abused or harassed because of stuff. There's a TV show I've been watching for years, which had a very awful episode last week that has basically ruined the entire show. But I'm not going to message the creator and be like, you dumb piece of shit. I'm just going to think about it and be angry about it on my own.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's wild that he got so much hate. That's incredibly unfair.
He still gets it sometimes.
That's fucking
I mean,
crazy.
he's pretty much over it now.
That's good. Oh my God, the amount of therapy he would have had to go to or something.
Oh, he definitely did. I read his book, and he, like, definitely went through some shit.
Jeez.
Yeah, he did. But, you know, now he's got a very well-practiced block button on Twitter, so he's good.
Yeah.
Also, okay, so this is a bit of a segue, but did anyone notice the soundtrack in the previous episode? How it was, like, very, like, flowy and romantic and, like, big. And this one, there's a lot of dun dun dun.
You know, I actually didn't.
Oh, okay. So I
didn't really notice the music, to be honest.
It does not stand
Yeah.
out much, but when you are paying attention to it, the music in the previous episode feels larger than life. Like as I said, it has like a romantic feel to it, and it was great, and it added a lot to that episode. But in this one, it feels like the original series' soundtrack, and I tried paying a lot more attention to it because of that, and was like, geez, this is not good. And it turns out that this was a composer that they went with who used a much smaller orchestra for some reason, and it shows because the amount of dun dun dun, it stands out a lot to me. They do that at basically every single commercial break.
Well, I didn't. I honestly haven't been paying attention to the music last episode or this episode.
That's fine. I'm allowed to have opinions that you guys don't have because you weren't paying attention. I'm the one who's paying attention. I'm doing great. Shut up. I just want to talk about how I feel.
No, that's valid. I honestly, I probably would agree if I was paying attention.
That's fair. So now we should definitely name the podcast the podcast.
Or fully Captain. or how fully. Yeah,
Fully functional is a great name.
Yeah.
Fully functional podcast.
I have
Oh my
one
gosh.
very nitpicky thing that I want to address. So at the beginning, they hear the hatch blow on the other ship, and then Worf 2 seconds later is like the computer is no longer reading any life signs on the ship, and it's like, okay, a hatch blowing would not kill everyone instantly. It would take a bit, you know. How did that kill everyone immediately? I know some people were already dead, but there's no way all the rest of the alive people were in the area where the hatch blew.
I wonder if I don't know, that might just be a taco. Because then why would they go over to the ship and need to confirm it? Sorry, what's wrong with your advanced Galaxy class ship sensors?
And for clarification for anyone listening, a taco is what we call, it's like a typo but of speech. Because I realize
I guess that's an important thing for people to know.
If someone's listening and they don't know, that's what we say.
Oh, I didn't even know what that was.
Yeah.
Oh, well, now you know. It's a taco.
Yeah, so instead of a typo, it's a taco.
You know what I realized? I just thought of it. If the hatch is blown and was, I guess, still open when they transported in, how did they walk around with no breathing?
So the
shit?
hatch was blown on the bridge, but wasn't actually blown on the rest of the ship.
Okay, so
yeah,
then...
because there's a bunch of sealed doors between them and where they actually blew the hatch.
Okay.
That's why every time a door opens or closes, it goes tss, because, it's got a seal on it.
Oh, right. Okay. Because I kept thinking the hatch opened and if everybody died at once, there's obviously some kind of circulation. So I just assumed that they just went, they just transported into the other place where circulation's still going.
Yeah.
Then I suppose that also works against the argument of how did they all die at once?
That woman in the intro, she actually prefaces it with exactly what she's going to do. She says,
I wrote it down. I wrote down the whole speech.
Okay.
Do you want me to do it?
Please read the line.
Do you want me to
for
do it
me?
in my
Yes.
Deep voice?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, well, please
okay,
do.
Ready? Sounds so weird. This is my impression of the lady. Okay. Well, hello, Enterprise. Welcome. I hope you have a lot of pretty boys on board, because I'm willing and waiting if in fact we're going to have a real blowout here. And then there's an explosion. I wrote...
Get it? A real blowout pun?
I actually wrote that it sounded like a voicemail message. You've reached Enterprise.
Yeah.
I hope you have a lot of pretty boys on board.
Please call me back at 1-800-FULLY-FUNCTIONAL.
Do we want to get into our favorite moments / lines?
Oh, definitely. Because there's an
Yeah.
abundance of them.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so obviously everyone loves the fully functional bit
Yes.
and line, but also my favorite line of the episode is when Captain Picard's explaining to Wesley that he has the intoxication infection. And Wesley's like, oh, so you're saying I'm drunk? And then my favorite line, I feel strange, but also good. Man, I wish I was there. I wish I was with you there, man.
I mean, my favorite bits we've talked, it's all the little Picard things, that wave, that little jump, the arm thing.
Hop, skippity,
I
jump.
fucking love that. The other, my favorite lines though, is Data says it. He goes, indications of what humans would call a wild party.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that line. Yeah.
Oh my god, they write Data fantastically on this.
Yeah, I mean, I do. One of my favorite. I do love the opening monologue thing, the sexy lady voice. But then I do love the indications of what humans would call a wild party. But yeah, there's just so many good things in this episode that is just nuts.
The one that definitely stands out to me is when they essentially break the fourth wall, and Data's putting all of the little isolinear chips into that into the wall panel there, and Riker's just like, Data, is this going to take you much longer? Do we have enough time? And Data's like, nope. This will take slightly more time than we have, sir. And it's like, did you just explain the plot moment? Did you just turn to the audience and go, bum-ba-da-dum?
Oh yeah, and Wesley's like, he's full on drunk, and like the chief engineer's like, your idea will take weeks, and he's like, just see it in your head. And then he saves the ship.
Yeah, that's trying to position him as the Wunderkind.
Oh, I love the assistant engineer was playing basically Jenga with the chips.
Yeah.
For so long, he's just piling them on top of each other like a little kid. That was very charming. I enjoyed that. I thought it was adorable.
Sorry, I love when the chief engineer McDougal, when she comes up to him and she's like, these are control chips. Like his mom.
And he's got that look on his face where he's just like, and throwing them in the air.
Oh yeah, and then
thank you, the Naked
at the
Now.
end, sorry, Picard's like, oh, we'll have a good crew indeed if we avoid temptation. So I guess no sex for the Enterprise, I guess.
Not now, Doctor. Please.
Everybody put on your chastity belts.
Yeah. So let's get into predictions for next week's episode, which is called Code of Honor.
Oh God.
Oh God.
So what do you think this is about?
Okay. Code of honor. Okay, so somebody has a code of honor, obviously, and they're gonna have to do something against it. My guess is Picard or Riker, and they're gonna do something that they're like, ugh, I don't want to do it, but I'm gonna do it, and then it's gonna have bad consequences, and they'll be like, should have stuck with my code of honor. I don't know. That seems kind of rational-ish.
Well, so far, I mean, we've gone both ways because we've had Encounter at Farpoint, which is literally exactly what happens in the episode, and then we've had The Naked Now, which, I'm sorry, I don't actually know what that means. I don't think they know what it means.
Well, everyone got horny, so I think it's like...
The naked right now. Ugh. But that one's a little less literal. It's kind of like a little bit of a cerebral suggestion with you wouldn't see the episode title and go, oh, that's the episode where they're gonna fuck then for sure.
I mean, I might.
You wouldn't think that. You wouldn't think that immediately. Even Dory didn't think it immediately, except that we said the naked time.
Yeah,
first.
I said there'd be.
So
said there better be nudity, but I don't think I said anybody was fucking. So
you did not. So yeah, this one could go either way. So I guess we'll see.
So we will see next time when we talk about Code of Honor.
Goodbye.